Today, on today's video, I want to talk about the Newark Holy Stones. Now, you may or may not know, but I do a lot of research on the giants, on the Native American burial mounds and effigy mounds, and just the mounds in general. I'd like to look at how the mounds correlate with hauntings. You know, I found that lots of times where there is a mound, you will find haunted locations all around that. Good example is here in Toledo, there were two mounds, one on each side of the river. Now, the one on the side of the river that I'm on right now, which is closer to downtown, is close to the Oliver House. It's close to the Spaghetti Warehouse. It's close to the Bone House. All three of those places are very haunted. Now, if you look at the Oliver House, if you go on Google Maps and look at the Oliver House, in front of it, you'll see a restaurant right at the base of the road that leads up to the bridge. Where that is where that mound was. Okay, that was a mound that was 200 feet around, and I think it was about 40 feet tall. Okay. When they built the Anthony Wayne Bridge, which is we call the high level, they bulldozed that mound and made it into the on-ramp. And where the mound actually was is now a restaurant that is abandoned, but it used to be the Frisch's restaurant. So if you look at the map, you'll see a restaurant out front. Right behind that restaurant is the road that the Oliver House is on. Now, the Oliver House is extremely haunted. We've investigated there. We've done a convention, or we did a convention there. The day that we were there for the convention, we were all sitting in the room, which was originally the lobby of the hotel. And in there, they have two vaults. Okay, one is ground level, and the other one is up on what used to be like a catwalk. So basically, it's a two-story vault that they would use to put the guest valuables in, because they would come in on stagecoach or whatever and stay the night there, and they would put the valuables in the vault. The vault on ground level, we're all standing in that room, and it's like a reception hall bar room right now. They use that vault as a storage area for the bar. We were sitting there, and the door opened by itself. Now, you're talking a door that's thousands of pounds. There's no vents inside there. It's just a vault. There's no air vents in the vault or nothing. And we all saw the door open. It's crazy. I went over to the door and I could barely move it. But poltergeist activity happens in there all the time. There's door slammings. People hear door slammings that don't actually slam. People hear voices. People that live in the building now hear stuff. And they do paranormal investigations there, but being that it's a working restaurant and an apartment complex now, I think they only do the ghost hunting in that main room and a little hallway. So anyways, but the correlation between Indian burial mounds and hauntings, another one that I think about right now is in Miamisburg, Ohio. Or not Miamisburg, excuse me. That's a beautiful mound too, but in Moundsville, West Virginia. Okay. They call it Moundsville because there's a mound there. Now, across the street from the mound in Moundsville is the Moundsville Penitentiary, which is Virginia State Penitentiary. That place is extremely haunted. That's the place that Jen got her attachment from. When we were there just doing a ghost hunt, Jen got an attachment there that she actually had to have a Indian shaman help her release that. So mounds and hauntings go hand in hand. Now, I do my research on the giants also. And we still don't know who the giants were. Okay. And did the giants make the mounds? That's another question that we have. I think they did. Okay. I think that the mounds were there. And there are Indian legends that say that the Indians say that they were there before the Indians came in. But the Indians end up using them as their burial mounds. There's several different locations that they actually started digging into, like Miamisburg and Moundsville, that when they started digging into them, they did find Indian bones. Okay. But today I want to talk about something a little different. There was an amateur archaeologist named David Wyrick that was digging in the ground around Newark, Ohio, looking for things because that was his hobby. One day he was digging, and I don't remember the exact location, but he found what he called the Keystone. Okay, the Keystone is a little stone that he found in the shape of a keystone. Now, obviously, this isn't a real one. I'll show you a picture of the real one here. That one is in Coshocton. I can't say it. But anyways, it's in a museum outside of Coshocton, Ohio. Okay. And those are the original Newark Holy Stones. Let me show you a picture of them again. These are the original ones. Those are in the museum. But this is a copy. I bought these at the museum. And the thing is, he found David Wyrick found this stone. The interesting thing about it is, if you can see closely, it has writing on it. All the way around, there's writing. And he didn't know what to think of this. He thought that this was Indian writing, and a lot of people believe that there was Indian carvings on this rock or this stone. So part of his beliefs were that there were the lost tribe of the Israelites came through. And he believes that the lost tribe of the Israelites were the giants, which I did too. Okay, and I still kind of believe that, but I believe there was a different tribe, different type of Israelites that came through. Well, come to find out, this is Hebrew writing on this stone. And he took this over to Cincinnati and had it looked at. And it was confirmed that it is Hebrew writing. So how and why did he find a stone with Hebrew writing on it in Ohio? Okay. So this made him think. And he dug more into the Hebrews and found that they would build mounds in their cities. And even in the Bible, it states that in the Bible it says, and they built them on high, mounds in all their cities. And the reason they built mounds is because they would do their preaching and stuff like that on them. And it was significant things that they built. Now, in Newark, Ohio, where Route 70 is, used to be the Great Stone Mound. David Wyrick noticed that this is different than all the other mounds. This was made of stone. Now, there's some drawings where it's a conical mound, but I believe that it wasn't a conical mound. It was a mound, but it was like a plateau mound, which had plateaus on it. And this thing was big. So they started hauling off the stones. And they actually hauled off 10,000 cartloads of stone off this mound. When they were done, David Wyrick knew that it was special because there was a clay basin. So he started to dig in the clay. He didn't know what he would find, but he knew that something was there. He knew there was a reason why they built that mound there. Well, come to find out, after he dug down a little bit, he found a coffin holding a giant. This giant was big, probably 8 feet tall. Okay. Now there's two stories. One story says that he found a little coffin laying on the giant. Now the giant was laying in the coffin, and his feet were pointing towards the setting sun. And he had copper bracelets on. He had copper breastplate. And the thing about that is Native Americans didn't bury their dead in coffins. Okay, they just buried them, and they buried them a lot of times in these mounds. So another story is that he moved the coffin out of the way, and when he moved the bones, they actually just crumbled, because after a while the bones become so brittle that if you go to move them, they'll just fall apart. And another, like I said, the other story is that the coffin that he found, the little stone coffin, was underneath him. So I don't know which is which. I don't know if he found the coffin on top of him or if the little coffin was underneath him, but he found this little coffin. And going back to the pictures of the Newark Holy Stones, you'll see that coffin. It's the box that's there. Now inside that box was what we call the Decalogue stone. Okay, and that's the stone you see in that picture of the Newark Holy Stones, the Decalogue stone. Now this is interesting. This one has a carving of a person, and it's got the Hebrew writing all around it. Okay. Now, another interesting thing is this part here. I'm assuming that there was like a cloth that hanged off this. I don't know. And maybe these two went together, you know. Maybe it was like that. I don't know. But anyhow, he found the Decalogue stone. This one has Hebrew writing all around it. And it also has the carving. Above the carving, you'll see Hebrew, which says Moshe, which is Moses. This is Moses. And all around it are the Ten Commandments. He found this Decalogue stone with a giant, which we believe is either the lost tribe of the Israelites or another tribe of Israelites that came through. Now, people have been saying that these are fake, that David Wyrick made it up. But the problem with that is, in Tennessee, they also found a stone with Hebrew writing on it. And they found that in what's called Bat Creek. So this is called the Bat Creek stone. And let me show you a picture of that. This is the Bat Creek stone. Now, the interesting thing about this stone is it's real small, and there's writing on it. And it sat in the museum for years, until one day someone came into the museum and said, "Why is that upside down?" And the curator was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "It's upside down. That's not Native American writing. That's Hebrew." Flipped it over and read it. And I forget the inscription. I'll have to look it up for you, but maybe I'll put it on here if I can find it. But that's Hebrew writing also, in the same style as the Decalogue stone and the Keystone. The writing on these. It's the same type of lettering, which is old style Hebrew writing. So your guess is as good as mine. If they're finding this stuff in America, were there Israelites in America? And the answer is yes. Now, another interesting thing is, in a field down in southern Ohio, there was another mound that they bulldozed over. Next to that mound were these big ditches, and they couldn't figure out what these ditches were and why they're there. Now, if you look at a satellite image of them, you'll find that it is actually a Hebrew letter. And that letter is sheen or shine. Okay? That was found right next to a mound. Now, the thing about this mound is it wasn't a regular mound that you'd think of. This was what they call an effigy mound. An effigy mound is in the shape of something. Now, the thing about this mound is it was in the shape of a menorah and a lamp, which is Hebrew. Okay? So they ended up bulldozing this to make a farmer's field. But if you look at Google Maps, you'll see that the actual ditches that made up the letter are still there, that they used the dirt to make this mound. So I firmly believe, that there were Israelites here, and they're the ones that built the mounds. And then the Native Americans, just knowing that they are sacred sites, took over the mounds and actually buried their dead there also. So that's why you have these Native American burial mounds all over. In Ohio, there was over 10,000 mounds. Across the country, there are tons more. Let me throw up a picture of a map of all the known locations of mounds in the United States. And as you can see on this map, they were all over the place. So this summer, I'm going to take you to a few of these sites. I'm going to go to these sites and do some videos for you and show you some of the mounds, what they look like now. One of my favorites is Miamisburg Mound. This is in Miamisburg, Ohio. And as you can see, there's stairs that go up it. And you can actually walk to the top and stand on the top of it. I've done this several times. It's awesome. If I lived by there, I would use it as a spot where I could, get some exercise by going up and down the steps. But if you're in Miamisburg, Ohio, or anywhere around there, that's by Dayton, stop by this mound and check it out. It is unbelievable. It is one of the coolest things because it's in a park and you can actually go up and sit on top of the mound. Now, do realize that, be respectful. This is a burial mound. When you're on top of this mound, you are on top of a burial. And as you can see in the photographs, the top of it is not there anymore. It's a flat surface that you can go up on top of. And what the reason why it's not there is they started digging that and they started finding a lot of bones. So they actually stopped digging it. And now you can go up there. But anyways, I know it's kind of a boring video, but I wanted to bring this to you and show you the Newark Holy Stones. And stay tuned. I'm going to make a presentation on them so that when I do my presentations, I can talk more about them. But the Keystone and the Decalogue stone is so interesting, knowing that it is found in Newark, Ohio. And you can go there, maybe if you want to go there, if you're around there and you want me to go with you, let me know. I'll go with you over to the Great Circle and the Octagon Mound. And on the next video, I want to talk to you about those two locations. Okay, I can go into more depth about those, but the Octagon, the Great Octagon Mound is unbelievable, and there's some things you won't believe that I'll tell you about, and maybe we'll go there and talk. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video. Me and Jen really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you the next time. All right, goodbye.